Hi, my name is Jimi Jones. I am here for Shaw Audio today to talk about the Shaw Audio tube injection bass preamp. I am a Nashville, Tennessee-based bass player, and I've had this unit for about a year. This is my exact unit. I use day in and day out, over 200 shows on this unit, multiple recording sessions, just about every scenario I think you could possibly run into. To give you a little bit of background on myself, from Orlando, Florida, I currently play for a country artist named Jerry Jacobs. I play on the CMT's Nashville TV show, and I do freelance bass work in and around Nashville and on the road for other artists as well. I've been playing for about 15 years professionally, and been in Nashville about 3 years. So I want to start with letting you know what we're going through today. I'm here with my trusty Fender American Deluxe jazz bass. Same bass that's used on multiple records and live performances all over the world. Going into standard tuner and then going into the tube injection. Now I use this pedal board for 4 main different scenarios. On the road with my main touring band, I have my own bass rig that I take with me most of the time when we're on the bus, and that's simply a Class D backpack amp, small amplifier, solid state, and 2 small cabs. And when I am flying, of course, I don't take my bass amp with me, but I take my pedal board with me and my bass with me. And it's very convenient because no matter what situation I run into, I know my tone is going to be consistent. The third situation I run into a lot is whenever I'm playing direct to a PA. So that means I'm not going to have any backline amp or any other source of sound other than the bass pre. And I know that I'm either going to be running in-ear monitors or have a wedge, a floor wedge for my sound reproduction. And then the fourth scenario is for studio sessions. When I do that, I simply carry this bass and this pedal board into any studio in Nashville or anywhere and get the same sound. And I'm able to keep a consistent tone, very clean sound as well. All right, so today we're plugging into my pedal board, which is simply tuner, coming out of the tuner into the tube injection. Next to the input, you have a through that you can use to go out to a tuner that's always on, or if you wanted to have unaffected signal going to your stage amp. Another great feature of the tube injection is that it has a 9-volt out where you can run a power cable to power all of your pedals, tuner, whatever you have on your pedal board. Once you get into the tube injection, you have a few different knobs and switches that are going to affect both your gain staging and your tone as you go through. First thing I want to talk about is the pad knob here on the end, which would typically be left turned all the way up unless you're running an active bass like I have here. I have a Fender American Deluxe jazz bass which has an 18-volt preamp system that is switchable on and off. Whenever I run this bass in active, then I would definitely want to back this off a little bit just because you're going to have a really hot signal coming from your bass. The next section would be the tone center, where you have your bass and treble knobs, mid-range switch, and a fat switch. These are all highly interactive with one another. The mid-range switch is 3 positions, and as you go through the 3 positions, the bass and treble knobs are going to function differently in each mid-range position. So you wouldn't simply want to go set your bass and treble and then flip through the mid-range. You'd want to select a mid-range selection, affect your bass and treble, and go through all 3 mid-range positions while affecting your bass and treble to find the tone you're looking for. The fat switch is going to give you a little bit more aggression to your sound. If you're looking for a little bit fatter sound, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory as far as how it's labeled. And then over here to the left, we have our stage and front of house output knobs. and that's going to be affected over here by your stage low and high output. 1/4 inch out, that would go to your amp or whatever you're working with. Typically, if you're running into the power amp in section of your amp, you want to come out of the high output, and if you want to run into the front of your amp, which is what I typically do, I would run out of the low output side. Today we're running out of the high output side because we're running simply into low power amp and running into this 810 cabinet behind me. The front of house output is an XLR, and you have your typical ground lift like you would have on most DIs, and then you have a front of house XLR output knob as well.